One of the biggest surprises from WrestleMania 42 weekend should have been the return of Paige after 8 years away from the company. But unfortunately, that surprise was ruined for many of us by spoilers the day before the event. Hello everyone, I'm Ben. This is another Veal Talks, and I want to weigh in on some comments which have come on the Nikki and Brie Bella show following Paige's surprise comeback over the weekend. Now, I was gutted on Friday. I was just about to go into social media dark mode for WrestleMania weekend. I was doing one last bit of scheduling on Instagram when suddenly it popped up. Paige is returning and she will be the surprise partner for WrestleMania 42. And whilst I knew it was imminent that Paige would be back in the WWE, Saraya has been training and getting ready for this. It was clearly coming very, very soon. It really would have been nice to have the element of a surprise and to have actually had that moment as a fan. That, of course, was ruined for me, and it was ruined for many of you out there. Now, this is what Nikki and Brie had to say on the show. So Brie was talking about, this is on the April 21st episode of the show, so the show that's aired today. Brie was talking in the wake of the big moment at WrestleMania about this leak and where it emerged from. And she's made it clear that she believes someone inside the circle tipped the information before it was meant to go public. So she has says, the Paige stuff got leaked from a Stooge, and I will find out who saw it earlier in the week. I will say this, you guys, just let things be special and a secret. Who runs and tells people? And then she goes on to criticise wrestling news culture. And I've got to be honest, I'm with her right here. I mean, I make a real point on here, on the show, on YouTube, on social media, of not sharing spoilers and thumbnails because, believe it or not, some people actually don't watch wrestling instantly and want to have that moment of surprise. Brie says this, I'm talking about people who run to TMZ and say something they want to break about someone's personal life. It's about clicks and impressions, so they want to be breaking news. You didn't break anything. She goes on to say, I will say this, it's actually sad. Look at yourself in the mirror and think about what you will do next time. I'm going to find that Stooge, though. So, whether or not we will ever find out who leaked the information is kind of by the by. It was which should have been a really great and big surprise at WrestleMania, and it was ruined for so many. That was obvious by the amount of people that had Paige is back signs in the arena. It did still get a really, really big pop. It still got the nostalgia, and people still loved it on the night, but it didn't get that incredible wow factor that could have come if out of nowhere Paige's music has hit for the first time. I think the other thing, of course, is that it was very set up in the execution of it. Everyone knew Nikki was injured. It was also Paige returning for an 8-woman tag match, which didn't exactly feel like the most grandiose of returns after so long away. And the other thing, of course, is that we have seen Paige. Most people have seen Paige wrestling over the last few years for AEW. I was fortunate enough to see her big moment at Wembley Stadium all in 2023. So it's not like this is the return of Paige, the return of Saraya that we haven't seen her wrestle for years. She has been in big mainstream US wrestling scene over the last few years. But for a lot of WWE fans, that'll be the first time they'd seen her in a long, long time. And it's a shame it was spoilt. I'd love to hear from you about what you thought about Paige's return, what you think about her winning the championships alongside Brie. Did you manage to avoid this spoiler? Did you know it was coming? But more importantly, this whole thing about wrestling news stories being leaked, why do we have to know about every single big return, every title change? Why can't we just have that element of surprise anymore? Because that's the great thing about being a wrestling fan. I think the last time that I was genuinely surprised by wrestling was Royal Rumble 2020 and the return of Edge. I think that was the last time that I jumped out of my seat like, holy crap, this is incredible. It's so rare to keep a secret now. Even the return of CM Punk at November Survivor Series 2023, we kind of felt it was probably coming. The execution of it was tremendous. No one saw it happening at that exact moment. But there was a large rumbling that CM Punk was on his way back to WWE after the AEW fallout. So I think for me, the last time really was Edge at Royal Rumble 2020. Would have been great if Paige's return had been kept for a surprise. It wasn't. It was spoilt. What did you think of it? And what did you think to the match overall? And what do you want to see from Paige going forward? I mean, she's only 33 years old, incredibly. What do you want to see for Paige, and where do we go from here, both with Nikki and Brie Bella and AJ Lee and Paige? You know, we've heard this kind of four horsewoman of WWE, the alternative four horsewomen. What dream matches do you want to see, and what does Paige's return mean to you? I'm Ben. This is Ben Veal Talks. As always, you can check out my other channel, Wrestling Life Online, for interviews each and every week with wrestlers. And I'll be back very, very soon. Bye.